Hello, friends. This is Sham Mulail Kalarikal, your storyteller. All right. So today, let's hear a story, a wonderful story. So long ago, somewhere in India, in old India, there was a city called Vardhamana. It was a beautiful city, and it was ruled by a very good king. So there was also a very efficient and prosperous merchant who was living in the city. Knowing his ability, the king appointed him as the administrator of that particular capital. During this merchant's administration, he kept the common people, as well as the king happy. So, I mean, after a long time, it was time for the merchant's daughter to get married. So he got appropriate, alliance for his daughter and arranged a grand wedding. For the wedding, he invited the king, the queen, the ministers, and all the rich people in the town. So he entertained all the his guests lavishly, gave them presents, clothing, etc. All right, and the guests were happy. Right, so along with the king's group, king's men, there was this servant, a sweeper from the royal household, who also accompanied with the king's party. So he actually came to this particular wedding without any invitation. He just joined the king's group, and uninvitedly he entered into this
Wedding.
merchant. Here, see, he was taking care of the guest and everything. So he noticed that a servant was sitting on a VIP seat. I mean, he got really angry. All right, he thought, how could a servant, only a servant can sit in the VIP seat? And so he went to the servant, catched all of his ear, and then throwed him out. The servant felt insulted and could not sleep all the night, thinking of this embarrassing moment. How can I get the merchant into disfavor with the king, so that some kind of revenge against the merchant? So he was thinking all those things, he how to take revenge on this merchant. Merchant was wealthy, powerful, so he cannot do anything against him. He has to use his cleverness to outsmart this, take his revenge on this merchant. So, after long thinking, I mean, he finally devised a plan to take revenge upon this powerful merchant. He started, seeing his king, daily going to the palace, weeping. All right, he started to do his usual job. Okay, he was waiting for the right time to hit upon. So one day, yeah, he got the opportunity to sweep the king's bedroom. So when he went there, the king was half awake. So he pretended to murmur things. So he started murmuring loud, saying, "Good heavens, the merchant has become so brazen nowadays, that he actually dares to embrace the queen." When the king heard this, he jumped up and shouted, "Oh, you! Is that true? Has the merchant really embraced my queen?" "Master," replied the servant, "I was gambling all night and didn't sleep at all. This morning I feel drowsy. I really don't know what I've been saying, but I have said anything out of place. Please forgive me." The king started to feel jealous. Yes, the servant is allowed to roam around freely in the royal palace. So does the merchant. Is it quite possible for the servant to oversee the merchant embracing my queen? So all these thoughts started to, trouble the king's mind. It started trouble so much that one day he withdrew all the favors from the merchant, and he even barred the merchant from entering into the palace. Finding this out, the merchant was, astounded. He felt very sad. How come the king stopped him from entering into the palace? The merchant started to think. Have I done anything wrong? Did I, commit any mistakes? Anyway, he didn't complain. The merchant started to do his, daily job, and one day he had to, meet the king on a very particular important trade with the neighboring country. So, he couldn't no longer, um, uh, wait for the king to come to, to his office, or to invite him to his palace. So he thought one day, okay, fine, whether the king's, call him or not, let me go to the king directly. He went to the, palace. But before entering into the palace, the guard stopped him, saying that he was not allowed to allowed to enter into the palace, and this is as per the king's order. He started to explain, this is very important, and the trade is, that is, it's very urgent that he has to meet with the king. Whatever he say, the guards didn't allow him. This Viper was watching all these conversations between the merchant and the guards, and he casually came over there, and yeah, he casually started to talk to, guards. He pretended as, he was not seeing the merchant. He told the guards, "Hey guards, this is a very powerful merchant, and if you don't do as he says, he might throw you out as he thrown me out from his daughter's wedding." And he went away. The merchant felt upset and returned home in a very dejected mood. He thought over it. He then it started to struck that that somehow this servant might be the reason why the king is very angry with him. And then he thought, why would the servant be angry? And then it came to his mind the day when he thrown the servant out of his daughter's wedding. So okay, he understood that. So he decided to, call the servant to his house. He called him, he invited the servant to his house, gave him good food, clothes, etc. And then he told the servant, "My dear friend, the other day I thrown you out from my daughter's wedding because you were sitting in the VIP seat. That VIP seat was actually meant for a Brahmin, and when the Brahmin saw you sitting in his seat, he felt insulted. That is the reason I got angry, and I kicked you out from the party. Please forgive me." So the servant, he was happy. He got the lavish food and clothes, and now such a great person is asking for his forgiveness. The servant said, "Not to worry, my friend. You have given me food, clothes, and you also requested my forgiveness. I'm happy. Once again, you shall see the favor of the king in your way. I shall prove again my cleverness to you." With these words, the servant went happily. Next morning, the servant went to the palace, and he started sweeping the floor, and the king was, lying asleep. He, again started pretending that, he was murmuring, and he started to murmur loudly so that the king hear him. "The king is really indiscreet. He eats cucumber in the lavatory." The king was taken aback to hear this, and he shouted, "You, what that nonsense you are talking? It's only because you are my servant that I don't kill you. Have you ever seen me eat a cucumber in the lavatory? Master, the servant said, I was gambling last night and didn't sleep at all. This morning I feel drowsy. I really don't know what I've been saying, but if I have said anything out of place, please forgive me. Uh, when the king heard this, he thought of himself. Never in my life I have eaten cucumber in my laboratory. This fool has said something ridiculous about me. Surely what he said about the merchant was also ridiculous too. So the king started to realize that he had made a bad decision. The whole administration system was in a standstill because the merchant was not allowed to do his job. So considering all these things, the king decided to reinstate the merchant as his administrative officer, and then he gave him jewels, clothes, and everything. So now the king is happy, the merchant is happy, and the sweeper is also happy. So that's a happy ending story. The moral of the story is one should treat everyone equally, whether he's a rich, poor, high class, low class, white collar job, or black collar job, whatever it is. Well, we have to treat everyone equally. All right, I mean, whether it may be a politician who has very big responsible job, not that only he gets respect, or IAS officer, or a job, IT professional. No, not only those people who get respect, we also need to respect other people. I mean, a sweeper or a gardener, we have to respect them. And our garden would have never been beautiful if we don't have a gardener to take care of them. So everyone deserves respect, right? So let's treat everyone equally. Try to respect each other. All right. So that's a moral of the story, guys. This is Sham Mulail Clerical. See you next time.